Okay, so hello everyone. I'm starting in 5 minutes, right? We are starting in 5 minutes. We are resuming in 5 minutes. Let everyone join first, then we'll start our class. Okay, so hello and welcome everyone. Basically, in our last class, we have studied about the first part of the first day of the workshop, in which we did many different areas. We basically covered many different areas. And in today's class, I'll be completing, in fact, the first day and then moving towards the second day, right? We will be completing our first day. In last class, we have done the highlight hotel question. And in today's class, okay, first, before going ahead, let me know if my audio is clear to you all. Is my audio clear to you all? If can please someone identify. Okay, so I guess it is clear. Perfect. So in last class, what we did was we were discussing about the basic format. Sorry. In last class, we were discussing about the first day revision of SBL examination, in which we did the basic topics of social and environmental factors. Then we went through the pestle analysis as well, in which we have discussed about March and June. That is September. Oh, sorry, smartware question. Now I need to tell you one thing. Basically, there are many students who are concerned that they do not know how to write, how to get those professional marks. Number one, and they are not aware about the professional formats that are being given by the examiner, right? So there are certain formats given by the examiner that you need to assess, or you need to identify these formats. Now make sure that these formats are all rote learned by you. Make sure that you are doing all these formats, and ultimately, as I was guiding students in my last class as well, that first thing that you need to do is you need to get familiar with each and every format. You need to get familiar with each and every format. First thing that you need to do is you need to get familiar with each and every format. Now, when I talk about format, remember one thing, that these format applies to all those questions where you will be getting those professional marks. Number one, the first and the foremost thing is that even if the question says that you do not have to write the entire set of report, you will not be writing the full report. Let's suppose he is asking you to write only the extract of the report. You also will be preparing the same report format. It will hardly take you 30 to 40 seconds to prepare a report format. So I don't think so that there will be a problem for you all, or there will be any time constraint. In fact, preparing the format even in the extract, if the examiner says do not prepare the format, that is something different. But if the examiner is only saying, as in the SBL examinations, the examiner only says that you will be preparing the format, you will be preparing the briefing note, or you will be preparing the extract of the report. If they say that you only need to prepare the extract of the report, just you will still be making the format, right? Do you all get this? Okay. So just give me a minute. अच्छा जनाब, तो अब what he was saying is, basically we had studied about the time management. In last class we studied about time management. We studied about three different areas: environmental footprint, social footprints, pestle analysis. Just give me a minute. Okay. So in our last class, we have studied about the pestle area, and we also went through the Potter 5 force model. Now in today's class, I'm moving towards, basically we did two different analysis. The first one was the pestle analysis and Potter 5 force model, and the second one was the internal factors. External factors included pestle model, that is external factors included pestle and 5 force model, and the internal factors, they included the human resources, financial resources, IT, and brand. So now let's move towards the next topic. And after completing this topic, I will be moving towards past papers. Now, in today's class, just to save time, I have drafted the past paper in such a way that we will not be reading the entire set of past paper, but only the relevant information that will help us in formulating our answers for this past papers. So basically, we are talking about the integrated reporting, that is the six capitals. Now, the difference between financial statement and integrating reporting. What is the difference between the financial statement and integrated reporting? Basically, financial statement focuses on the financial information as to how much profit the company is earning, what is the profitability of the company, overall historic profits, focus on the historic performances. However, integrated reporting focuses on the overall business performance. It focuses on the six capital. Rather, financial statement focuses on the future strategies. So, financial statement is all about the financial information, historic performances, and future strategies. However, integrated reporting is all about the overall business performance and the six capital of the business. Then, if I talk about the next part, the financial statement has less emphasis on the social and environmental strategies and decision making. The integrated reporting basically integrates social and environmental aspects in its report. The financial statement is short term, that is the annual report. However, the integrated reporting is long term, that is the value chain analysis. Integrated reporting is going through the value chain analysis. Now let's discuss about the role of integrated reporting. And integrated reporting is a concise communication on demonstrating the link between the governance, that is mission and object. Basically, they concise the entire organization. Integrated reporting is something which is more than the normal financial reporting. Integrated reporting is something which is more than the normal financial reporting. So it will have governance, that is missions and objective, strategies. Then we have strategies, financial performances, basically financial performances. Uh, okay, I guess there are some students who want to join. Let me guide them. Let me guide them. Uh, okay, so we can move. So over here, what he is saying is voice is very low. Okay, I'm changing my voice. I'm changing my mic. Okay, is it good now? Is it good? Is my voice clear now? Please let me know. Okay, perfect. So basically, what we were talking about is we were talking about the environmental factors. We were talking about different factors that will help us or that will facilitate us in this regard. So the basic aim or the basic viewpoint was presented was the role Hello, am I audible? Okay, I guess now I am audible to every one of you. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so we were discussing about an integrated reporting is a concise communication demonstrating the link between governance, mission and objective, strategies, financial performances, and social and environmental context. Basically, the integrated reporting is the connection between the different aspects of the society. Now, these aspects normally include the society as a whole, which includes the financial performances, as well as the social and environmental performances, as well as the governance strategies, so on and so forth. So, what are the content of an integrated report? What are the content of an integrated report? Sir, can you please identify the content of a financial report so that we can, we can move forward with the content of the integrated report. So, the content of financial report is the five component. Basically, there are five component in a financial statement. The statement of financial position, income statement, statement of cash flows, notes to the accounts, and statement of changes in equity. These are the five basic components of financial statement. I hope so. You must be noting whatever I am stating right now. You must be noting each and everything. I hope so. You must be noting everyone. So these are the contents of the financial statement. Now, if I talk about the integrated reporting, the content of an integrated report includes the organization's overview, its external environment, and obviously in external environment, we have got pestle analysis, we have got fortify forces, then we have got SWOT analysis, and then we have the future strategies as well. So these are the content of N6 Capital, obviously. Now let's just jump into the six capital. I guess you all must have studied each and everything in this regard. So I'm just giving you a quick overview of what these six capitals are, because this is the most important topic. My expectation is that in your regular classes you must have studied about these topics with your relevant teachers. So my expectation is that you all guys must have done each and everything in this regard, right? So the six capital normally include the first part is the financial capital, right? The financial capital is the overall financial performance. Now, the financial capital is not just what amount of finance do you have available for your own company. It is basically the overall financial position and the financial performance of the company. Sources of fund for future strategies. Now, sources of fund for future strategies, for example, where can we get our funds from? Where can we get our funds from? Do Can we get equity based funding, or let's suppose debt based funding? So these are all the funding strategies that we have along with our financial capital. These are all the funding strategies that we have for our financial capital, right? Then we have got manufactured capital. Now remember one thing, normally people confuse between manufactured capital and intellectual capital. Manufactured capital is all about current asset and non-current asset. Why is he including non-current asset? Because you know it very well that all those machineries, all those let's suppose buildings, fixed assets that we have is included in the tangible non-current assets such as plants and machinery. And why do we include the current asset as in manufactured capital? Because the inventories, that is the closing inventories that are being left at the end of the period, is also the part of the manufactured capital, right? Then we have the intellectual capital. Sir, intellectual capital, what do you mean by intellectual capital? Basically, intellectual capital is all about research and development and innovation.
How do we innovate our product? What is this? What is something different that we are introducing within our product? What are the ways in which research and development will take in place? How do we resource our department? What brands, patent rights, let's suppose any intangible, any intellectual assets that we can include in the company, the technical staff, the skilled staff, each and everything will be included in the intellectual capital. Then comes the most important capital, that is the human capital. And by the word human capital, I mean the employee matters, for example, knowledge, skills, experience of the employee, productivity and efficiency, the staff turnover rate, if it is being accurately monitored by the employees, this means that the staff and the overall organization is doing a great deal. Then we have got the social capital. Now, what do you mean by social capital? Social capital is the relationship and the trust that is being built with the key stakeholders. See, now you need to build up trust and the relationship with your stakeholders. For example, the loyalty areas from your customer will only arise not only because of the qualitative aspects of your product, but also of the quality of your services. If you are able to give your customer a qualitative services, if you are able to pay your suppliers on time, if you are doing something, some let's suppose corporate social responsibilities, if you are fulfilling your corporate social responsibilities, then you are doing a great deal with your communities. And if you are paying these taxes and all other amount of money, fines, let's suppose you are paying taxes on time, then you are doing a great deal for the government as well. Then what comes under the heading of natural capital? Basically, natural capital is all about environmental matters. Natural capital is all about environmental matters. These includes the carbon footprint, for example, green gases, green uses, the products that uses the green product. Then we have got CO2 emissions. Obviously, during the manufacturing process, the company normally exhibits the company normally take out the CO2 emission. They are going for the CO2 emission. Then comes the recycling and disposal of waste. We should be using our product for recycling purposes as well. We should make our product in such a way that their disposal of waste do not create pollution. There is no spillage of the natural resources that are available for us, and the use of scarce resources. As I have told you before, there is a company. I won't be taking the name of the company, but there's a company that made a set of account. I can show you how that set of account basically worked. They've made a set of account, and in that set of account, they basically classified that. Let's suppose I can show you how that set of account was working in that given company. Basically, they made a set of accounts saying that we are incurring, let's suppose, 500 pounds of pollution. We are incurring 500 pounds of environmental pollution. Well, let's suppose I'm just giving you a rough estimate. I do not know the exact value or the exact basis on which the pollution can be measured, but I just read about this company, and they said that we have planted around, let's suppose, 100 trees. We have planted around 100 trees, and in these trees, we will be able to create oxygen of around 600 pounds. Let's suppose they made a similar basis of around 600 pounds. So we are in a surplus. They said that we are in a surplus of 100 pounds. So our company is giving surplus oxygen of around 100 pounds. So this is the way in which this particular company, chalo, let me name it as well, Baico was the company that said, okay, we are creating a pollution of around 500 pounds, and we planted trees that help us in creating in creating oxygen of around 600 pounds. So we are in a surplus of 100 pounds. This company was awarded, as brand of the year brand of the year company, and this company was also given the environmental analysis, the biggest, highest award of the environmental hazardous pollution impact reducer company. This was also given the highest reward in the environmental analysis pollution reducer award was given to this company. And ultimately, this company has done a wonderful job. Basically, he insisted towards the sixth capital, from the sixth capital that I've shown you right now. That is the natural capital, right? So I hope so you are getting what I'm trying to explain. Then yes, obviously use of scarce resources will also help us in this regard. Now, what are the advantages of integrated reporting? See, integrated reporting. See, I am making a chart over here. You may also copy it. There are two different types of report. Basically, in each and every environment, if I talk about the reports, and if I talk about these reports to the external environment, or if I say the external stakeholders, external stakeholders, if these reports are available to the external stakeholders, the reports that are generally made available to the external stakeholder includes two different types of report. First one is the financial statement. Now you know it very well. There are five component of financial statement. That is the income statement, statement of financial position. Then we have the third one as statement of changes in equity. Fourth one is the statement of cash flows. I hope so. There is no issue in me writing these short forms. And the fifth one is the notes to the accounts. Now, this report is not voluntary. This report is not voluntary. Rather, these five statements have to be issued by every public listed company as a mandatory requirement. As a mandatory requirement. But if I talk about the integrated report, if I talk about the integrated report, if I talk about the integrated report, these includes a report on six capital. That is, these includes the report on the six capitals of the company. That is the human capital, financial capital, manufactured capital, each and everything. So financial capital, then we have manufactured capital, then we have the third one as human capital, then the next one is intellectual capital, human capital, intellectual capital. The next part was the natural, and last one as social capital. Natural and social capital. So basically, all these reporting on all these capital is not mandatory. This is something voluntary. This is something voluntary. This one is mandatory. However, this one is voluntary. So if I talk about the financial capital, this is where can we find the resources to have financial capital and making our company better than the other companies? This is the biggest question that comes into my mind. Where can we have these resources from? How can we utilize these resources? Number one. Then we have manufactured capital. What are the tangible, non-current, and current items that we have, current assets that we have, which will help our company to move further? Then we have the intellectual capital. These intellectual capital will include these intellectual capital will include the basic areas in the format of, let's suppose, what are the patent rights we have, what are the intangible capitals we have. Then the human resources, how much amount of skilled resources the individuals have, what is the expertise of an individual, how better are they working in the environment. And then obviously the natural capital. Natural capital is the what is the amount that we are investing. As I've identified, the integrated reporting that was presented by Baico company, and societal contribution. What amount have we invested in the current recession period? What is my contribution towards the COVID society, COVID situation, so on and so forth. So these are all those integrated reporting capitals that we will be, if we want, although this is not mandatory right now, if we want, we can basically help our individuals or help our external stakeholders to get along with this area. So I hope so. You have made yourself very clear in this. You have made yourself very clear in this. Let's move forward and let's see the next part of this. Because what I want today is to quickly jump into the question area so that we can, solve our questions there and then. So as integrated reporting is a voluntary disclosure, yes, we know that integrated reporting is not something which is mandatory. Rather, it is voluntary. It enhances organizations' image and reputation of transparency. Effective communication with all the stakeholders. Basically, let's suppose if there is a type of stakeholders who is not interested with all the stakeholders, there might be a type of stakeholders who is not interested at all in the financial statement of the company. He wants the society to work better. So what are you doing in order to satisfy that type of stakeholder? Integrated reporting will have answer to each and every one of you. Integrate social and environmental impact. Basically, integrated reporting is integrating. Integrative reporting is integrating social, environmental, and I would rather say the financial impact as well in the decision making. Focus on six capital of the organization. Focus on six capital of the organization. Acha, can anyone give me example of recent impact of integrated reporting that may be adopted by any company? Can anyone tell me any recent situation in which integrated reporting was being considered, and there was a situation where integrated reporting was taken into account? I know one of the biggest example. I can remember one of the biggest example, but I would want you to tell me if there is someone who can identify any company who recently adopted one of the massive approaches for integrated reporting. Can you please tell me? This is something which is related to Bitcoin. I'm giving you a hint. There is a huge example on integrated reporting. Sorry. Yeah. There is a huge example on integrated reporting that I recently came across. Can anyone tell me? SBH company. Yes, one of the biggest example of integrated reporting. Okay, let me give you another hint. It is being associated with the Tesla company. Elon Musk have announced one of the massive announcement that not only changed the scenario of Bitcoin going upwards, but gave a huge impact on the environment. Okay, I don't think so that you guys remember. You should be reading newspapers, you should be looking at news channels in order to get the first hand knowledge. But let me identify it to you. Basically, Bitcoin was going in a great hype. It went around $90,000 recently. One Bitcoin was being given to you in $90,000. It was going out of this world. But the only reason was Bitcoin and as well as the Bizcoin. Bizcoin is of a Turkish is a Turkish coin, and they are even making the Biz Tower. where they will be accepting these Bitcoin as the payment method or payment methodology. So let me tell you basically about Bitcoin. What happened was Elon Musk recently announced that the mining of the Bitcoin is being conducted with fossil fuels. The mining of the Bitcoin is being conducted with fossil fuels. So we will no more be accepting Bitcoins as payment method for buying their cars. So after this announcement, when Tesla Motors announced that they will not be accepting any bitcoins for the purchase of their cars, and this was all because of the natural capital, because Elon Musk was facing tremendous amount of criticism that all Elon Musk is accepting this amount of money, or I would say this cryptocurrency, for the purpose of purchasing these cars, and these cryptocurrencies are being mined out. These cryptocurrencies are being mined out with the help of fossil fuels. So Elon Musk is one who is giving a tremendous amount of challenges to the environment. So then he announced that I won't be accepting even a single penny of Bitcoin for the purchase of the car. And then we saw a huge decline in the market for the Bitcoin. And in today's world, the Bitcoin has even reached to $30,000 per coin. It has reached to its lowest possible point. So this is one of the biggest example of integrated reporting that you guys, and remember one thing, I can assure you there might be a question on the cryptocurrency or the big data this time. You might see a question on cryptocurrency, you might see a question on data mining. I am predicting it right now. I'm predicting this is one of the hottest possible issues. You might see a question on this COVID situation and hospital industry. You might see a question on manufacturing, car manufacturing industries, including the Tesla Motors. You might see a question on the cryptocurrency, big data. So you need to be very well aware about these things as well. Okay, so do you all get this, Fita? Chale, let's move forward. Then it says it demonstrates how the organization creates values. This is the way where Elon Musk said this, that despite the fact that after my announcement, Bitcoin has gone to its depression, or in fact, I would say to its trough phase. Still, I will not be accepting Bitcoin, despite the fact that then there are so many investors. But the only thing is that I'm thinking about their investors' future generation, and due to the fact that this is being mined out with the help of fossil fuel, I will not be accepting any Bitcoin. Better understanding and decision making by shareholders, stakeholders. Obviously, it will give you a better understanding and decision making as well. Plus, along with this, you will also be able to take out the potential investors and help them out to identify the most relevant areas. It attracts investors at a low cost of capital. Basically, they are also attracting these investors at a low cost of capital and will be giving a competitive edge over other companies. Do you all get this? This will also give a competitive edge over other companies. So moving forward, let's see. Basically, what they are saying is basically what they are saying is that let's now jump into the practice question. Now, I would want you all to solve this question of DCS company. Now, rather than me reading out the entire paper in front of you, I would rather say that let's just I have basically filtered out a question on DCS company. This is question number 1A and question number 1A part 1 and part 2. They both include the DCS company. And obviously after that we will be looking into the highlight company, or in fact I will be sharing my answer for the highlight company, and you can do it by your own self. So basically, what are the professional marks that we will be looking into these papers? Thoroughly review given information and investigate reasons. When they say analysis skills, now you need to keep this in your mind. This is the most important area, and I have kept this area after every handout. This is the most important area. See, when the question says that you have to analyze the above given situation, what you need to do, you need to thoroughly review the given information and investigate reasons for the current status. You need to investigate the reasons for the current status. You need to give thorough information, thorough review of the given scenario. Hint, explain and comment in detail on particular set of information, data, and question appropriateness of any assumption used. You need to explain in detail why there is particular issue being faced by the company. What are the different types of data that the company is basically gathering? And voice, voice gone. It's perfect, beta. There might be issue on your side. And any assumption used, if you are using certain assumptions, you need to tell the examiner that these are the assumptions that are being used by the question, right? I hope so. This is the way in which the analysis skills take place. Now let's look at the evaluation skills. Evaluation says assess proposals or argument in a balanced way. This means you need to give both pros and cons. You need to give both right and wrong. You need to identify the black and white of the situation so that it could be used for the decision making. Demonstrate professional judgment. Hint. The hint is to mention both pros and cons. Then, if they say that what is the basic meaning of communication skills, express clearly and convincingly. You need to express your answer very clearly and convincingly in the mind. The target audience, for example, you are willing to let's suppose writing to the chairman. Now, let me explain this in more detail. Let's suppose if you are writing to the chairman of the company, you need to use very professional jargons, professional words, and you need to make sure that you talk about the overall company situation, not about a single department situation. If you are talking to the NEDs of the company, you need to make sure that you are talking about the EDs of the company and you are telling about the EDs to the NEDs of the company. If you are talking to the finance director of the company, then you need to make sure that you are talking in the format of financial statement. You are talking in numbers. You are letting the people know that I'm willing to communicate with you, but in the form of numbers. If you are talking to the HR director, you need to make sure that you are identifying or you are telling the HR director the above given situation, but in the format of human resources. If you are talking to the shareholder of the company, you need generally need to talk about the overall wealth increment of the shareholders. And if you are talking to the general public, you need to talk about the society, the environment, the community as a whole. So use appropriate format, for example, report, briefing, presentation slides, letters, press release, whenever required. Then if we talk about the commercial acumen, what do you mean by commercial acumen basically? Understanding of the overall environment of the business. Basically, commercial acumen is understanding of the overall environment of the business. It says understanding of the overall environment of the business and external factors to be able to give commercially sound comments and recommendation. Basically, commercial acumen is all about the overall environment, not a specific department, not a specific firm, not a specific person, rather the overall environment of the company. Hint, use the words like opportunities, threats, customers, competitors, market shares, risk, etc. Do you all get this? Do you all get my point, what I'm trying to say? Yes, can someone tell me, please? Okay, so let us now jump to the question that we were doing. Let us now jump to the question that we were doing. Acumen दोबारा बता दो. Okay. Basically, business acumen is all about business acumen is all about the overall business environment. For example, you will not be taking the business acumen says that we are talking about the overall business environment. You will not only be talking about the financial sides of the company. You will not only be talking about the financial side of the company, rather, you will be seeing the overall business environment. As I have told you before as well, for example, if the company says that the financial statement of the company is going into losses, should we continue with? I have identified an example of a train company who was running a train just for the purpose so that one single there was a train company who was running through one of the smallest outskirt areas of Zimbabwe, and they were operating this train in Zimbabwe. So basically, what happened was that they were running this train, and only one single woman used to take services of this train. So normally the people ask, why you do not take, why there is so much, why there is no more, let's suppose, customers in this train. So what was identified by the people is that there is only one single student who take this train to go to her school, and the train company decided that they will be closing down this train there and then. Right now they want to close it down, but the chairman of the train company said, no, we will be continuing this train till the time period the that small child is able to complete her education. And that was the case in which business acumen depicted. Because you know what, you don't only take decisions on the basis of financial grounds. You don't only take decisions on the basis of financial grounds, rather you take decisions on the basis of the overall business environment. You are taking decisions on the basis of the overall business environment. This is known as the commercial acumen, right? Do you get this? Okay, so let's move forward and let's see. Let's now just jump towards our question. Okay, so I'm showing you the question. Just give me a minute, please. I'm showing you the question. Uh, the question is of DCS company. Okay, okay. So what I've done is basically the handout said that we will be solving. The handout said that we will be solving DCS company question number 1A part 1, right? You can see over here, we will be solving question number 1, DCS company specimen number 1, question number 1A part 1, exam practice. The question includes integrated. Now, this is the most important question that you will be doing right now. Integrated reporting and six capital, and second part also include integrated reporting and six capital. Now remember one thing, this is the most important question. So I need your 100% attention, because if this time an integrated reporting question arise in your examination, which has got a very good chance of coming into your examination. Why? Because integrated reporting is all about society. This is all about
This is something which is different than the financial reporting, right? In today's world, people want to look good, people want to have good education, good health, and good, let's suppose, sectors in the environment. So this question can once again be asked from you guys, so make sure that you give your 100% attention. What I have done is I have not extracted the whole question of DCS company, rather I have only extracted the relevant areas for just for the practice purpose, and I've written it over here as well. Strategic business leadership specimen number 1, DCS company, relevant extract for practice purpose. As I know that this has been recorded, I do not want ACCA coming to me and saying, oh my god, why have you made your own paper? Why have you changed that paper? So this is just for the practice purpose. Let me read this out. This is not a 4-hour examination. However, we just want to practice it out, so we can do this in this way. And this will save our time. So basically, you introduction, you are Hui Louis. Your name is Hui Louis. Remember, make sure that you keep on. I have forwarded this question to on your group as well. All those who are not included on the group, I told you yesterday to make sure that please text me so that I can add you on the group. However, I have forwarded this question on group as well. So basically, you are Huili, a management consulting leading a small team which has been commissioned to prepare a consultancy report for data communication services companies directors to help them to plan for the next 3 years. So you are a management consultant. Your name is Hui Louis. You will be making a consultancy report for the data communication services company director to help them to plan for the next 3 years. DCS company has two products areas. The largest area is the manufacture of data communication components. So they are making data communication component, which it sells mainly to original equipment manufacturer. So DCS company is only selling to OEM. There is only one company who is taking major sales from DCS company of communication component. The other component, the other smaller and less developed areas is based on supply of support contract. They are also selling support contract for specialist IT management. Now, network management, network system, mainly to democratic, medium-sized enterprise. You are a qualified accountant, and your colleagues are Denny Lemon, DL, a company researcher, FL, who is part qualified finance professional. You and your team have collected and analyzed the following information about DCS company to help you to prepare a consultancy report. So you want to prepare a consultancy report. Now, exhibit number 1, a report on DCS company organizational review. Exhibit number, a transcript from interview held between you and JP, the CEO of DCS company. Exhibit number 3 says, okay, just give me a minute. Just a minute. Okay, so exhibit number 2 says it's a transcript of the meeting that was held. Exhibit number 3 says financial and business performance of DCS company. Exhibit number 4 says the October board report recent meeting notes, which include strategic choices facing by the DCS company. Exhibit number 5 is all about exhibit number 5 is an evaluation on alternative future strategies being considered by DCS board. And exhibit number 6 is minutes from the focus group. Exhibit number 6 is basically the minutes from the focused group.
minutes on the focus group meeting you held with the middle management of the DCS company. So basically, these are the six exhibits. But I have told you before that I am not going to read out all these exhibits. I have made a very good extraction from this question. The case requirement are included in the task shown below. Question number 1A. Focus from the information you have collected, draft a section. Draft a section. Draft a section. You are not told to draft the entire report. You will just be drafting the section of consultancy report for the directors of the DCS company to include the following and analysis. Sir, analysis only include identifying the whole situation? Yes. An analysis of the industry and market in which DCS company is competing in using an appropriate model. You are just required to analyze the industry, the market of DCS company by using appropriate model, nothing more, nothing less, just an analysis and an evaluation of the overall performance of the DCS company between 2012 to 2015 with from an integrated reporting aspect. Professional skill marks are available for demonstrating evaluation skills relating to DCS companies, environment and performance. So this is of 12 and 15 and 4 marks, which makes around 31 marks. Remember, now this is a cheat code that I'm telling you guys now. Remember, if a question is of an integrated reporting or is it from the six capital, it will constitute around 30% of your paper because this is the examiner's most favorite topic and this is the students most confusing topic for the students because normally students don't know what to write in integrated reporting. Now I will tell you how to write the answer of this question. Let's just read it out first. Exhibit number 1. Now I have included exhibit number 1, which includes the background report to the DCS company to Hui Louis from DL. Subject organizational overview, the external environment, and the DCS business model. Dated 20th November 2015. Organizational overview. Data Communication System, a public listed company on the small companies capitalization, small cap index. It's a small company. Remember, it is not a big company. However, it's a public listed company. Now, all those students who were there in my Pakistan Stock Exchange session, where the facilitator have identified that there are different types of country companies. Some are classified as the 100 index company, and some are classified as 30 index company. So this is both of them are public listed company. However, the 100 index company are giant companies, they are big companies, and the 30 index companies are small companies. So this is a small company as regarded with the market capitalization index of a national stock exchange, used to be privately owned high technology company established in 1997, right? 1997 by computer engineer JP. Due to a rapid expansion over the following year, DCS needed to source additional capital to fund its future growth and was floated on the National Stock Exchange in 2006. This allowed JP to release his majority shareholding in private company. 30% of the flotation was purchased by institutional investors, and DCS also borrowed long-term funds to leverage the newly issued share capital. Before flotation, the company was almost exclusively financed from the founders' share capitals, retained earning, and short-term finance. External environment. DCS has its headquarters in Britain, a prosperous, developed nation with a stable and well established political system, and which has highly developed labor laws, including a national minimum wage and newly introduced obligatory contributory pension scheme. The government, like many government worldwide, has invested heavily in national communications infrastructure, which has led a significant growth sorry, in social media, and have virtually 75% of the population are connected to the internet through a range of devices, including mobile technology. The government is also proposing a new carbon tax which will affect companies which manufacture and provide IT network services such as data communication component and systems. The electronics and IT industry has recently been identified as a sector which with an increasing carbon footprint caused by their applications such as components, cooling devices, complex telecommunications footprint, call telecommunications network components, and cloud computing technologies. Although DCS company has approximately estimate its total carbon footprint from manufacture and supply of component from its factories, it has not yet developed formal system and processes to manage its carbon footprint throughout the value chain. Business model. DCS has two distinct product services area: data communication components, manufacture and supply and maintenance of network management systems, including technical support. The DCS employees are a mixture of technically qualified engineers working in research and development, factory staff manufacturing and assembling products, and an IT sales and service support team. Since the flotation of the company, 60% of the production employees in the data communication component factory joined a major trade union. In 2012, the country suffered an economic downturn, which led many companies to postpone technological investment. And by then, DCS employed 150 full time employees. The main revenue sources of DCS is the high volume, low cost data communication component manufacture part of the business, and it has 1% of the total market share. Oh my god. The main revenue stream only have 1% of the total market share. So this is DCS company is not having a good market share in regard with data communication component, which account for approximately 65. So 1% of the total economy's market share of data communication is being catered by DCS company, and that 1% is representing 65% of the total DCS total turnover. So it's a very small company. It's not a big company, right? DCS mainly sell and supply large volume of data communication components to original equipment manufacturer. So one of the biggest threat that DCS company is facing, that they are selling majority of their components to OEM, 30% of which are based outside Britain on the continent, uh, which has a single currency which is devaluing against the Britanian dollar. Success Success in the data communication component sector comes from the economies of scale achieved by producing high volume of reliable components and keeping prices low. DCS company has achieved this despite producing components in a country where there is significant employment legislation setting minimum wage rate and conditions. The second product area is much smaller and is based on supply and support contract for specialist IT management network. Management system mainly to domestic medium-sized enterprise, which currently yields a relatively higher gross profit margin than the data communication component product. A key aspect of the second product area is the installation and support of big data analytics capabilities along with cloud computing storage, which can be used to replace existing costly IT architectures such as unsophisticated data warehousing to allow business client to collect and analyze more targeted and timely data about their own customers and purchasing patterns. Much of this can be obtained from data held within the social and business networking software. So this was the first exhibit. Now, if we look at the second exhibit, extract of the integrated extract of the integrated reporting data 2012 to 2015 from Finance Director Tosh Mendol. But I will give you namaz break. I will give you namaz break. Just a second. Just let me read it first. So this is the financial data. They have given you sales, gross profit. They have given you other information. Number of employees, staff turnover is decreasing. Sorry, staff turnover is increasing. Delivery that are being held late, they are also increasing with the passage of time. Forward contracts are decreasing. Customer complaints seems to be increasing. Employee satisfaction services is also deteriorating. Investment in non-current asset is also decreasing. Research and development has come to 3%. Carbon emission has extensively increased to 80 basis points. I don't know how what these basis points are, but yes, they have been increased to 80 basis points. And it seems to be a deteriorating, it seems to be a devastating situation for DCS company. Now let's look at exhibit number 4, the October board report for DCS company. The board of directors, DCS company, strategic overview, DCS company, JD, marketing director, 12th of October 2015. Let's look at the introduction. The report is based on the information obtained from all the executive directors of DCS company under several main headings. The report highlights risk opportunities and the future outlook for DCS company. It also focuses on the strategies and resources allocation, highlighting a key strategic decisions which the board will need to make in near future. Risk and opportunities. What are the specific risk and opportunities which affect DCS availability, DCS ability to create value over the short, medium, and long term? And how is the organization dealing with it? By 2014, the international market for the data communication component started to saturate and decline. For the supply and support of contract for specialist IT network management system, IT network management system. Beta, I will give you namaz break, but just hold on for a second. IT network management system, we are now finding it increasingly difficult and costly to maintain the required level of network support. It is getting harder to recruit high caliber staff. Okay, I guess it's Azan. It's Azan time. Let's just hold for let's just hold for 1 minute. It's Azan time. Okay, let's move forward.
Let's move forward. So it says over here, what is he saying is, he's saying that DCS companies, where we had read till, mm, I guess we have written till where we have done. Okay. So by 2014, the international market for data communication components started to saturate and decline. For the supply and support of contract for IT specialist network. Is it good now? Is it good now? Okay. Okay, perfect. For the supply and support of contracts for IT specialist, perfect. For specialist IT network management system, we are now finding it increasingly difficult and costly to maintain the required level of network support. It is getting harder to recruit high caliber staff to DCS. The headquarter of DCS, although a modern site, is in a geographical location where unattractiveness for key personnel to reallocate to. Our specialists in the system support side for the business are currently overstretched because many key staff has been headhunted or taken early retirement. So they are saying that our specialist staff have gone to other companies, or there are situations where they have taken early retirement as well. Lenders have until recently been quite willing to lend DCS additional long-term fund at competitive interest rates, but are now tightening their credit lines to the company and placing covenants on us to keep financial gearing within the acceptable limit. They are also increasing their interest rate to compensate for the additional financial risk. It is unlikely that any future growth or investment can be financed from further debt, and we would need to use our considerable cash reserves or utilize internally generated fund. Currently, DCS has a geared cost of equity of 12%. Future outlook. What challenges and uncertainties is DCS likely to encounter in pursuing its strategy, and what are the potential implications for the business model and future performances? DCS currently manufacture approximately 50% of all the data components, communication components used in its own product. The rest of the complete components, including semiconders, microprocessors, are bought in from two multinational global companies. These suppliers have since 2006 become the key players in the market through a succession of acquisition and merger. Where previously there were many more suppliers market through more suppliers, all with a much smaller market share. Recently, serious production problems have resulted from periodic component shortages from these key suppliers, creating significant delays in manufacturing, assembling, and customer deliveries. One of our recently acquired OEM customer accounts for 40% of our sales in this area. Marketing focuses. Okay, so marketing forecast for 2006 shows and beyond indicates stronger growth from the supply and sales support for specialized IT management services to currently installed networks in its domestic financial sector, rather than from the manufacture of components to OEMs or for the installation of new networks to large companies. The other potential growth area is in providing cloud computing and big data analytics capabilities to the SME network, small medium enterprise network. Including DCS, there are currently only three companies which provide these specialist services in Predan. So this is the entire set of paper
And you need to know right now. And now what you need to do, you need to solve these two questions. Now remember one thing, before solving these two questions, you need to make sure that you have read the entire set of papers. Before solving these three questions, you need to make sure that you have read the entire set of or the paper that I have given it to you right now. I have included this paper. I have forwarded this paper on these on our group. Make sure that you go through this paper and start writing it. So now we are going for a namaz break. It's 7:23 according to Pakistan time. I'm taking a namaz break right now. You do not need to go anywhere. Right after offering your namaz, you will be solving question number 1A, only part 1. Question number 1A, only part 1, that is an analysis of the industry and market which DCS company is competing in using an appropriate model. My viewpoint, my request is that make sure that you solve it on the ACCS given platform. Make sure that you solve this on ACCA's given platform so that your answers can be corrected in the same way. I will also show you the platform. I will also show you how to how to account for that platform, how to make it more appropriate for yourself. But make sure that you are solving each and every question on the ACC. Even the practice questions that you are doing, you should make sure that you are solving. In the practice questions that you are doing, you should make sure that you are solving it on the ACCA's given platform, right? So it's 7:25. We are online. I am also after your namaz break. You can take namaz break for 5 minutes. That is 7:30. Till 7:30 is your namaz break, and then I'm giving you around 22 minutes for solving the first part, that is 15 marks question. So I'm also solving the question. You also solve it out, right? I'm also solving the question. You also solve it out. There might be there might be some distortion from your side, but you may check it. Okay, so I'm also solving this. You also solve it out. I'll be reviewing my answer at 7:50. I'll be reviewing my answer at 7:50. Now I'm pausing my video. You can stay on this and start solving it on the stated format. If any question, you can write on the chat option.
Acha guys, you must have identified till now that question number one is not integrated reporting in 6 capital. Basically, question number one is of an appropriate model. You can either use pestle analysis or Potter 5 force model, any of them. So I hope so. You must be solving in this way, right? I am repeating it once again. Question number one is not of integrated reporting. Question number 1A, part one is not of integrated reporting. This question is of pestle analysis and Potter 5 force model. You can choose any of them.
Okay, so I hope so. You guys must have done with this question right now, and you guys must have completed this question right now. So let's just resume. The first question was to draft a section of the consultancy report for the directors of DCS company to include the following: an analysis of the industry. Whenever I say, trust me over the fact, whenever I say an analysis of industry and market, whenever I say analysis of industry and market, this means whenever I say analysis of industry and market, this means that I will be using either the pestle model or the Potter 5 force model. So I have made my answer over here and I'm revealing my answer. I've also identified certain things. 1 mark per relevant point for discussing any relevant environmental model such as Spotify force model or pestle analysis. So I have chosen the Spotify force model. Introduction. The first part of this report analysis, DCS companies. I've shared this answer with you as well, so that you, if you want to read it for, let's suppose for future referencing, you can read it out. The first part of the report analysis, the DCS companies market and the industry using the Potter 5 forces model. Number one, bargaining power of buyers. DCS is competing in two market in the data communication component. Acha, before going ahead, is there any question that you would want to ask or any, let's suppose any suggestion or any something that you would want to discuss right now? Should I start reading? Have you all done this question or not? Have you all done this question? Please tell me. Guys, have you all done this question? Yes or no? You all have written the answer for this question. Yes or no? Yes or no? Are you all there? Hello. Am I audible to you all? Okay. Okay, you were in the mid of writing. So do you need some more time to write? Yes, you can use both model. Yes, you can use both, but you do not have that much time. You will only you be using one model. Either you choose between the two. I thought that this model will give me a better insight of the question. For me, according to me, this model was giving me a better insight, so I have chosen this one. But you can choose the pestle model as well. No issues in that. You can choose the pestle. Okay, so let me read out the answer that I have written. Yes, because in question the examiner asks about industry, so you can use any of these models. Perfect, perfect. So let's move forward. Let's move forward. Let's see what the examiner has to tell us all about. So the bargaining power TCS is currently okay. There is one more question. Okay, perfect. Okay, so it says DCS is competing in two markets. In the data communication component market, which is more mature and where it has less than 1% of the market share. It is a supplier of marginal significance despite 65% of the gross profit or cash contribution being generated in this segment. Its customers in the neighboring single market, 30% of its own currencies are likely to demand low price, high quality, and reliability. They may not accept late deliveries or late orders. It appears that alternative sources of supplies
Basically, I forgot to write headings. Basically, I forgot to no. Perfect. Um, its customers in the neighboring single market, 30% of its own currencies are likely to demand low prices, high quality, and reliability. They may not accept late deliveries of orders. It appears that alternative sources of supply are readily available and that switching costs are are relatively low. Multinationals OEM have significant bargaining power in this market, particularly the OEM, which accounts for 40% of the DCS current data communication component sales. In the second market, where network management systems are supplied to mainly domestics, SMEs, and a few large companies, the buyers appear to have less bargaining. So, if you are using this model, make sure that you tell if the buyer is having more bargaining power or are they having less bargaining power. This is the thing that you will be telling. I have identified this in my previous class as well. DCS is catering for each customer's specific need, and so each solution is to some degree a bespoke solution. This makes it much harder for the buyer to compare the products and prices of potential suppliers. Alternative sources of supply are much more difficult to find as there are only three companies, including DCS, in this specialized market. So I have written a very reasonable part in the first one. The second says the bargaining power of suppliers, although DCS manufacture. Now, this answer is quite extensively being written, right? I had an ample amount of time. Basically, I've written this in my previous attempt. So I had ample amount of time, so I could have written it. Even if you write 60% of this answer, you will be getting 100% marks. Even if you write 60% of the answer that I have written in front of you, you will be getting 100% marks, right? So although DCS manufactures 50% of the components used in data communication products, reducing its overall reliance on reducing its overall reliance on suppliers in this sector. It seems unlikely that DCS will be able to extract much influence on its supplier, which provide the other 50%. As a relatively small player in the data communication market, as a relatively small player in the data communication market, the company does not have the power to exert buyer pressure on its two large suppliers. On its two large suppliers, uh, either in terms of price and delivery. Current problem associated with the delivery of the component are having a significant impact on the company's ability to meet customers' deadlines and expectations. Suppliers of financial capital, namely lenders, have gained more bargaining power as DCS has had to borrow more to sustain their recent growth. If labor is seen as a supplier, then evidence again suggests that DCS is in a relatively weak position, particularly since there has been a limited trade union membership since 2006. However, the union membership are mainly in the data communication component divisions, where employees' remuneration and employment rights are already compliant with present national employment laws. So I have written this to be quite a reasonable one, right? The scenario also indicates the difficulty of finding high caliber network staff with DC's small size and location, making it difficult to attract the key personnel necessary for the further growth in this sector. Again, I'm telling you, even if you write 60% of this answer, you will be getting 100% marks. Then it says threat from new entrant. DCS is operating in an industry where the costs of entry are significant because it is capital and a knowledge intensive industry. Economies of scale compel new entrants
to enter in at significant output level or suffer a cost disadvantage. Furthermore, the need to offer comprehensive after sales support, although a problem for DCS, does also create a significant barrier to new entrants. Finally, the exit cost and barriers such as industry specific knowledge, skills, and asset reduce the attractiveness of the marketplace to new entrants. And we have threat from substitutes. There is evidence that large, successful, high technology companies are particularly vulnerable to ignoring the challenges from disruptive new technologies, which can replace the need for certain high technology products and services overnight. However, the relevant size of DCS may give it competitive advantage in its ability to respond quickly and flexibility to change. As long as it can attract the as long as it can attract the right caliber of expertise to achieve this. Then we have the last point, and that is the rivalry among the competitors. It says very different level of sorry, very different level of competition are being experienced in the two marketplaces DCS is operating in. It is clear that high volume, low margin component business offers intense competition with buyers who are able to use their size to extract favorable prices. DCS only has 1% of the market. The ability of DCS to generate better market share and volumes through product innovation in this market seems highly unlikely. The intensity of rivalry in the network management sector is significantly less in this specialist market. DCS is dealing with a smaller number of large and medium sized users designing products specific to the needs. In the Potter term, DCS is adopting a focused differentiation. Now, this is something very important differentiation strategy. In these low volume, high margin market, the emphasis has to be on increasing the volume side of the business, but at the same time, making sure that they have the resources to attract and support the new customers. Now, after looking at this answer, don't get yourself confused that this is quite well written answer, and if the examiner is going to give marks only on this answer, then we will basically not be able to come even up to the mark of this examination question. So this is not the case. I'm repeating it once again. It's a very well written answer due to the fact that I've been teaching this since way too long now. However, if I talk about your answer, if you are able to write a quite reasonable and even if 60% of the requirement is being fulfilled as compared to what I have written, you will be getting your 100% marks. Do you all get this? Do you all get this? Now I need you all to, and if you have not completed part one, it's okay. You can complete it afterwards. See, now, the basic aim of taking this workshop is that if, let's suppose, if day one is being completed and you are left with certain questions that you need to do, make sure that before the start of day two, you just complete the questions of day one because to make this thing to be very effective, you need to do this. So, question number 1A, part one is being completed. Let's look at part two. I'll give you time to solve part two, and then I will be showing my answer for part two, right? Do you want to solve it, or should I show my answer directly? We can go with both the ways. Do you want to solve it first, and then should I show it to you, or may I show the answer before you solving it? Let me know, please. What are your viewpoint? Yes. Please tell me, what do you think? Should I show the answer directly, or do you want to write it yourself for next
let's suppose 15-20 minutes, and then I may show my answer. Please give your viewpoints. Come on, guys, I need your answer. Tell me, should I use this chat option and let me know? Should I show my answer first, or do you want time to solve it first and then discuss it with me? I'm talking about question number 1A part 2. I'm talking about question number 1A part 2. What should I do? Yes, I need an answer from you, from every one of you. Come on, guys, I need an answer. May I show the answer that I have written, or do you want some time to solve this? You want some time to solve this and then discuss it collectively, or do you want me to show the answer? Show कर दूं. Give time to solve. Okay, so I guess first you should solve the answer, and then you can see my answer. Okay, so the question number 2 says an evaluation of the overall performance of DCS company between 2012 and 2015 from an integrated. I would want you all to please write the answer of this question, because this is the most important one. This question is the most important one. So I would want you all to write answer of this question from integrated reporting. This question is of 12 marks. So it's right now it is 8:05 according to Pakistan time. I'm giving you around 17 minutes, and then I will be showing my answer and moving towards the next handout. Right? Start solving this. It is a great opportunity for you all to solve this, because if a question like this arise, you will be at ease. Start solving this.
Okay, so I guess you must have done the answer of this question. Now let us discuss. Let me show you my answer, and then then we can call it a day today. Okay, so let's see. I'm showing you the answer. Okay, so the answer for integrated, basically, he was of the view to discuss the integrated reporting, right? So it's quite a simple question that you must have solved it yourself as well. But if you have certain difficulties, you can see this. Okay, so the answer to the question says the following is an evaluation of the performance of DCS against the six capitals of and how these are being transformed at DCS between 2012 to 2015. Now, whenever I'll talk about financial capital, I know that I have to give numbers. Whenever I talk about financial capital, I know that I have to give numbers. And if I'm talking about human capital, I know that I have to tell about the human as an individual. So make sure that when you are talking about the financial capital, you give certain numbers. The financial data shows the revenues reaching a peak in 2014 before falling away by just 9% in 2015. Although 2014 was a record year for revenues, increased cost of sales meant that gross profit declined significantly. Now, as we can see from the financial data, the cost of sales was increasing, and increase of cost of sales means that there is a huge decline in the gross profit and the revenue. The gross profit margin has declined every year in the period under consideration. And the reason for this need to be investigated. The rapid fall in 2015 suggests that operating costs have not been brought under control to reflect the sudden sales decline. 2015, 14, 13, 12. Gross profit margin, gross profit over revenues, 28.49%. I've taken this out from the financial data that was given to me, so I can analyze the situation. Into the basically, this is just an analysis question, right? You can see over here it says an evaluation. So you are evaluating. In fact, it's not the analysis, it's the evaluation question. Into you will be giving both the pros and cons. In 2015, although DCS seems to have made the reductions in overhead costs, finance costs have increased despite the fall in revenues, leading to a progressive decline in net profit margin in the period under consideration. From 2012 to 2015, net profit margin 2.16, 8.11, 10.15, and 11.37. Net profit after interest and tax. Now you can see the overall financial picture. Now, at the end of the day, after identifying the pros and cons of the situation, now I'm giving a conclusion. The overall financial picture is of a company which had failed to control its core operating and finance cost as it generated increase in revenues until 2014. And as revenues fell in 2015, finance costs are increasing as a portion or as a proportion of net profit before interest and tax, as shown below. So interest cover ratio is from 5.93% to 1.25%. And I have used the formula of net profit before interest and tax divided by the divided by the finance cost. Then comes the manufacturing capital. Now the manufacturing capital says working manufacturing capital seems to be reducing. This is confirmed by the forward contract order book. This has fallen from 3,505 in 2012. See, working capital means how many individual, what is the amount of the forward contracts that they are taking. You guys must be very well aware of what forward contracts are, because you must have studied them in F9 subject as well, which will require fewer components, work in process, and finished products needed at the factory. It is also clear that capital budgeting and investment is showing from 10% to 7% of turnover over the period. The research and development budget is also is also falling, and is at 3% of the total turnover in 2015 compared to 6% in 2012, which is a 50% decline. These statistics indicate a clear depletion of the manufacturing capital of DCS company. Now, you can see I have talked about the manufacturing capital. Yes, it is 110% mandatory to write about each and every capital, until and unless they says that the manufacturing capital, write only about manufacturing capital, or about, let's suppose, human capital. Until unless the question says contrary, you will have to write about each and every factor of the six capitals. Then we have got the human capital. Now, what do you mean by human capital? DCS seems to be seeing a depletion of high value human capital, and morale may have been seen very low. Recruitment and succession planning seems to be poorly planned and coordinated. Now, you must be very well aware, you must be seeing that I am writing all the pros and cons in this question, leading to insufficient skilled people being recruited or promoted to replace staff either leaving the company or retiring early. There is just over 15% fewer staff at DCS company in 2015 as compared with 2012. However, human capital has performed reasonably well from a productivity perspective. Analyzing the data, productivity reached a peak in 2014 and has only fallen slightly in the last financial year. Sales revenue per employee is from 31.66 to 54.72. The sales support, basically, whenever you are talking about the human capital, I have taken sales revenue per employee because it included human capital. The sales support element of the human capital is not performing well. However, the number of late contracts have doubled since 2012, and the number of and the number of complaints from the customers has increased from 1.5% to order to 3.4%. Then we have got social and relationship capital. Social capital measures cultural health within the company, and one of the ways this can be assessed is by using staff satisfaction survey. Because now the question over here arises, sir, why have you chosen this model? Why not pestle analysis? Because I was getting information about this model. That is the reason that I've chosen this model. The case indicates that employee satisfaction has been declining between 2012 and 2015. The increase in trade union membership may be symptoms of this. The case indicates that the survey measures such aspects as confidence in the leadership, opinions about personal growth, and individuals' well being. Each year since the survey was launched, the satisfaction rating has fallen by more than 15%. This was very much evident from the question. Then we have intellectual capital. Another area where DCS seems to be failing is in the maintenance and transformation of intellectual capital. There has been a depletion of intellectual capital through skilled staff being either underutilized or leaving the company. This can be related in two areas: staff turnover and research and development. Clearly, the stock of intellectual capital is closely correlated to the stock of human and cultural capital. DCS seems to be depleting all three of these, and its staff turnover has increased by 150% since 2012. Then we have this natural capital. Is it clear that DCS has growing carbon footprint and that it is unable to identify where precisely in its value chain, the carbon footprint is most problematic. The information in the case shows that the overall carbon emission are increasing. Carbon emission have risen by one third in 2000 since 2012. The case clearly indicates that the main cause of the carbon footprint is the data communication component in manufacturing division. This is already a high volume and relatively low margin sector of the business, which will be subject to additional carbon tax under the government proposals. There is also likely to be a greater carbon cost with this sector as a significant proportion of these components are exported to the nearby continental trading communities. Conclusion. DCS need to be very well aware of the dynamic relating to its market and industry, particularly the power of the key customers and the overall reliance of the two main suppliers. It must also be very well aware and manage the threats from substitutes and new entrants in its two main business segments. On the company's performance against the sixth capital of DCS performance in several areas is weak and indicate a strategic drift which will need to be addressed. So these are the two questions that we discussed in class, and this marks the end of the handout number one. Now, basically, I guess rather than going towards handout number two, let's keep our class till here today. But before ending it, I would want you all, because I guess we can do it tomorrow. We can start the handout number two tomorrow. It is comparatively easier handout, and we can, go through that handout quickly. So I'm keeping this handout till here today, but before moving ahead, I would request you that there are certain questions in this handout. For example, we have done the highlight hotel one. We have done this question. We have done this question. See, we have done this question, right? We have gone through this one as well, the Potter 5 forces and the integrated reporting. So I would request you to please solve smartware. And today I will be sending you the answer of smartware as well. And all those students who have solved any other question, you are requested to forward me the question so that I can check them all. Right? Tomorrow's class will also be at 6 o'clock. It doesn't matter if we take 7 days instead of 6 days. No issues at all. But we will be completing the entire SBL course, and we will be going through two mock exams. So don't worry, I will be completing the entire SBL course, and I will be going through two mock exams. We have done ample amount of practice from day one. Now I'll be moving to day two, and then specifically day three, day four, and day five. Day five is basically more of an easy one because we will just be going through the mock exams and nothing else. So basically we will be studying till day four, and day fifth will be the mock exam. So I can relate that we might go for 6 days including the mock. So just prepare yourself for your mock exam and make sure that whatever work I'm giving you, you complete it there and then and forward me the question that you are doing. Is there any question that you would want to ask? Otherwise, we may call it a day today. Is there any question that you would want to ask? Any of you want to ask any specific question? You can ask me right now. Is there any question, guys? Chale, then let's call it a day today. And we will be meeting tomorrow at same time. We will be meeting tomorrow, same time, that is 6 o'clock, and we will be continuing till 9 o'clock or 9:30. Okay, let's keep it till here today. I hope so. This workshop is getting beneficial from for you all. I also need a review from you. Is it beneficial? Are you guys able to revise each and everything within the shortest possible span of time? I need review from you all.
Is it beneficial? Is it good going? Do you want to do some? Do you want me to do something different in this workshop? Any suggestion or something? Yes. Please give a review as well. You can give me individually, or you can, forward on the chat option. Okay, so we will be meeting tomorrow, but for tomorrow only the registered students will be allowed. So make sure you register yourself on our group. There is Mr. Fahim who is already included. He will let you know the detail of registration. So till then, till tomorrow, we'll be meeting again. Allah Hafiz.